Y'all forget I am the leader. They want to hear from the mayor. If y'all ain't learned that yet, the mayor, not the trustees that don't do nothing, that only run their mouth. Y'all don't do no work, no work.
Have you heard the latest FBI bombshell? They raided Tiffany Henyard's home and found $100 million in cash hidden like it was from a Hollywood heist. This isn't just a small-town mayor's story. It's a full-blown scandal of extravagant living on taxpayer money. Henyard, who boldly adopted her super mayor persona, now has a lot to answer for. Imagine this: lavish vacations, an endless designer shopping spree, and a stunning $500,000 driveway constructed for her mother. Yes, every last penny of it was paid for by taxpayers. Henyard has been living big, dressing like Dalton's very own Kardashian while her town plunged further into financial ruin. But here's the real bombshell. While Henyard portrayed a wealthy, extravagant mayor whose town was collapsing under a crippling debt of $3.5 million, the FBI discovered millions of dollars hidden away. To understand why Henyard's downfall was so severe, you must go back to how Dalton, the so-called super mayor, came to power. There were many doubtful looks when she first entered the mayor's office following the unexpected death of the previous mayor, Frank Zuccarelli, but she swung in with lofty promises and even greater ambitions. In addition to being the mayor of Dalton, Tiffany Henyard was also the supervisor of Thornton Township. Her combined positions earned her a substantial $200,000 annually, and she even dubbed herself the super mayor as though it were her own personal brand. However, behind the scenes, her leadership appeared to be more about controlling Dalton like a personal tom than actually serving the community. Those positions weren't just about public service, they were about self-service, and she made a lot of money while doing it. When she first came to power, Henyard's ascent to power was like a pre-written blockbuster. Fans gathered behind her when she took the oath of office 3 years ago, ready to see her vision for Dalton come to life. At that time, the entire town was watching her every word, and she was determined to make Dalton a reality. Buzzing with excitement once more, prior to her 2021 victory, Dalton was just your average suburban town with fairs and parades, nothing unusual. For a short while, the locals treated Tiffany like a hometown celebrity, but that excitement quickly faded as soon as Henyard adapted to her new role. Anyone who dared to oppose her or question her acts was silenced more quickly than a glitchy tick throughout Shady's tenure in power, which turned into a battleground rather than merely a source of debate. As the town's finances collapsed, talk ruled her small tom with an iron fist and carried herself like a queen. Henyard's tenure has been a whirlwind of controversy, with accusations flying about her using her influence to indulge in a lavish lifestyle, from extravagant security entourages to outrageous Vegas getaways. The drama doesn't stop there, and let's not forget the eyebrow-raising donations to a breast cancer charity conveniently bearing her name. We're talking first-class vacations, gourmet dinners, and enough designer handbags to open a boutique. But the real jaw-dropper, she spent $561,000 to repave her mother's driveway, leaving the taxpayers of Dalton to foot the bill. Let's take a closer look at the first big red flag. She's out here championing housing reforms, claiming to secure funds for seniors and veterans, and advocating for new developments, yet all those promises are quickly overshadowed by a looming federal investigation into her spending habits, an issue that could land her in hot water. Then there's her supposed breast cancer charity, the Tiffany Henyard Care Foundation. At first glance, it appears to be a noble cause, but a closer look reveals a disturbing truth. In just 5 months, she spent an incredible $67,000 on travel, more money than most people even see in a year, while her town's coffers are empty as a desert in July. Her former chief of staff at Thornton, whom she later fired, revealed some incriminating receipts. Henyard was living large, spending thousands on opulent hotel stays and luxury perks, all paid for with Dalton and Thornton Township credit cards. This mayor is allegedly in Springfield on business, but instead of attending meetings, she is relaxing in upscale hotels, riding motorcycles, and hanging out with her personal DJ and drone photographer. Of course, the taxpayers are paying for these opulent accommodations and fine dining while she is cruising the village and township. If that wasn't enough, she also began selling merchandise, including t-shirts and sweatshirts that were ordered on Thornton Township's cash. When people questioned her about it, she remained mute.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard was a no-show for this special meeting called by village trustees, but she was still the target of scathing public comment.
I'm not going to stop until she's behind bars.
And at some point, she is going to have to answer to.
But wait, there's more. When her face began erecting enormous billboards throughout the village, her ego reached a whole new level. These weren't paid for by her camp campaign. Rather, they were paid for with taxpayer dollars to promote her own image. This isn't just slay, it's outright illegal. Even seasoned political insiders were left scratching their heads. While it's normal to promote a candidate, using public funds to do so is clearly against the law, and the state election laws are very clear. When Henyard took office, she assembled a carefully chosen team of officers for round-the-clock protection. But this wasn't just any security detail. We're not talking about a few bodyguards here and there. This was a full-on, round-the-clock operation as if she were some high-profile celebrity or a top-tier politician. If she were a small-town mayor, something was definitely wrong. For example, Officer Terry Young allegedly put in 303 hours in a 2E period, earning more than $113,000. Unless you're Henyard and your security team is inflating hours as if there were no limits with only 336 hours in a 2E period, how is that even possible? Either Officer Young has some very unusual time-bending skills, or there's something seriously questionable going on because the Henyard security team is stealing more than $1 million from Dalton's budget. It's hard to think that a town already drowning in debt would pay 7 figures. The mayor is living large, almost as if she is running the country, while the majority of Doane's residents are struggling to make ends meet. However, it wasn't just the excessive overtime that made people laugh. Her security squad was following her around all the time, even going on out-of-town trips with her. The locals couldn't help but cringe at the entire situation, which became extremely embarrassing when people began to ask questions. Henyard didn't hold back when defending the cost by saying that threats made it necessary, but let's face it, no one was buying it, especially after she sacked the police chief for defying her irrational requests. Although the receipts reveal a different scenario, you might believe that she is simply very good with money. Dalton has been sinking deeper into financial catastrophe and accruing millions of dollars in debt, while Henyard has been living lavishly. When people started to ask hard questions, she was using the town's budget as her personal piggy bank. Henyard dared to dismiss it as a normal aspect of being a prominent figure. The people of Dalton didn't have a VIP pass to Gutsy when she was mayor, as far as I could tell. They elected her to make improvements to the community, not to destroy it. You may be asking if anyone noticed the expensive spending, but I'm sure they did. Let's be honest for a moment. Being a mayor is not an easy job. It comes with a lot of responsibilities. Jason House blew the whistle, and the news is hot, he added. I quote, "She has taken extravagant excursions with village employees and has put the village in a multi-million-dollar deficit. Enormous burden and duty. Henyard seems to have blurred the borders between self-service and public service, if you get what I mean." If you find that concerning, just wait till you hear about her retaliatory tactics. The last time I looked, being a shopaholic wasn't part of the job description. The lawsuit piled up as former employees accused Dalton of wrongful termination for refusing to participate in her manipulative tactics. Those who dared to oppose Henyard did not receive a mild reprimand. Instead, they faced the full brunt of her vengeance, whether it was denying business licenses or firing employees who refused to spy on her rivals or dig up dirt. In one particularly concerning case, Dwayne Thrash, a longtime employee of Thornton Township, claims he was fired for not taking part in Henyard's purported schemes. Specifically, she wanted him to help replace an attorney with someone her assistant preferred, even though he was offered a $10,000 raise. Thrash refused to comply, and as you might expect, he was fired sooner rather than later. But wait, there's more. If you thought things couldn't get worse, brace yourself. Carmen Carlisle, a former trustee and member of Team Henyard, has completely changed her mind and is now speaking out against Henyard's alleged manipulation tactics. She says, "I believe there are many more victims who have been retaliated against, fired, or lied to by Henyard, but have yet to speak out. Valeria Stubbs, a former trustee, claims that Henyard has escalated the situation to a whole new level of chaos. She claims that she has been mistreated at home and even intimidated by police because she disagreed with the mayor. However, it doesn't end there. One unfortunate person claims that they were put on unpaid medical leave after speaking out about mistreatment involving a trustee, and when they reported it to Henyard, they faced more retaliation. Henyard's former assistant, Fedidukes, has joined the lawsuit, alleging that she was mistreated during a taxpayer-funded trip, and that she experienced mistreatment after reporting it to Henyard. It appears that Henyard is controlling her own personal kingdom, where anyone who doesn't follow the rules faces harsh consequences. According to allegations, staff members are under pressure to spy on detractors and gather information about Henyard's opponents. Public service is giving way to plain political warfare. In response, the Dolton board opened an investigation, asked Henyard to provide the village's financial records, and invited the FBI to carry out its own investigation. At a contentious village board meeting, Henyard, however, refused to cooperate, calling the board's resolution nothing more than a personal attack driven by biased narratives. She adamantly stated that her community was under siege and vowed to fight what she called a smear campaign in spite of her claims of innocence. The picture presented by the financial realities is very different. While Henyard continues to shift the responsibility, others are increasingly pointing fingers at the village, which is facing a $2 million shortfall with hundreds of thousands owing for street paving and tree trimming services.
Follow the facts where they lead, without bias, and reserve comments from this night forward until the work is complete.
This is where things get very ugly. You know how we're all meant to keep track of our expenditures, and guess who missed that memo? I'll follow the facts where they lead without bias and reserve remarks until tonight till the task is finished. Yes, Dolton has been doing business without an annual audit since 2021. Nobody has been checking the books, and when a town doesn't balance its books for years, things can go south quickly. That's exactly what happened in Dolton since 2021. There have been no annual audits, no oversight, just a free-for-all with taxpayer money. But don't worry, there will be cavalry. By cavalry, I mean former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who has been called in to look into the spending. Let me tell you, Lightfoot isn't playing around. She has been digging thoroughly, and what she has found is enough to make your head spin. Yes, the town's general fund is down $365 million. The police department's spending has increased by 21%, indicating that someone has been writing blank checks left and right, while Dolton's bank account is as empty as a mall on Christmas morning. When you thought there couldn't be any more Tito and drama, instead of accepting accountability for her conduct, Messier Henyard is going to great lengths and accusing her ex-right-hand man, Freeman Keith, but no one is buying into Henyard's recent claims that she was misled about the financial decisions and that she was unaware of the financial mess. Let's take a moment to talk about Keith Freeman, who has been charged with bankruptcy fraud and is allegedly telling investigators about it, which must be causing Henyard a great deal of anxiety. Imagine your old closest friend betraying you in that way, but here's the truth. The town board is not buying Henyard's justifications, and her blame game isn't getting her any sympathy. Although she is using a smear campaign to argue that these accusations are only personal assaults, Trust J House is spearheading the effort to expose her for those lavish outings and the town's multi-million-dollar deficit Henyard. It's as if the adults had to step in and take away the town's allowance because they couldn't be trusted to spend it responsibly. She even attempted to play the boys' club card, claiming that the village board is targeting her because she's a woman, but that justification is as weak as toilet paper from the dollar store. The FBI isn't playing around, though, as they've hit Henyard with a barrage of subpoenas demanding every scrap of evidence. Payroll records, reimbursements, travel costs. In full, imagine FBI agents breaking into Tiffany Henyard's house like it's the climactic conclusion of your favorite crime drama. They're tearing it apart and throwing pillows around like if it were a scene from a money scene. The worst part is that they discover actual cash stacks concealed like secret loot, not just a few scattered pennies. Remember that the money is only the tip of the iceberg. How much are we talking about? Does it have the ability to send Henyard directly from City Hall to prison? Henyard isn't just worried about her mayoral duties. Her entire empire is now under investigation. You might be wondering why having some extra cash is a problem, but here's the scoop. The FBI is looking into every aspect of her financial world, including her business records, financial statements, and even the well-known charity she has been promoting. The FBI is looking into a trail of evidence and is looking into everything from wire fraud to embezzlement. These are serious allegations that could have Henyard trading her mayoral badge for an orange jumpsuit. As a public official, every cent needs to be accounted for. The FBI has been questioning witnesses and investigating Henyard Shady's activities nonstop. They even caught her stealing public money for her Amazon shopping spree. Their electronic surveillance has been thorough, ensuring nothing is missed. Important material has been made public by Keith Henyard's former right-hand guy, who is now assisting the federal government after being implicated in a bankruptcy fraud scheme. Freeman was not just any aide. He was Henyard's faithful confidant who knew all of her secrets. However, as the investigation heats up, Henyard is now attempting to blame Freeman, acting as though he was the mastermind behind everything, while she plays the innocent bystander. Things are heating up in Thornton Township as Henyard is adamantly running for re-election as supervisor and is relying heavily on her longtime supporters to keep her campaign afloat. However, with the FBI closing in and scandals occurring one after another, it will not be long before her entire operation comes crashing down, and she is not the only one feeling the heat.
Been reporting for nearly 2 years on allegations of corruption surrounding Henyard in her capacity as Dalton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor. And now we've learned from multiple sources that federal agents are in fact interviewing witnesses as part of a possible investigation that may or may not result in charges.
Consider Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, who is currently embroiled in a scandal that is upending local politics. She has $7 million in debt and spent $67,000 on travel in just 5 months, all while her town is in financial turmoil. What if I told you that a seemingly modest town mayor was actually the mastermind behind a billion-dollar global empire? These numbers are more than just statistics. They are the trail that leads us into the incredible world of Tiffany Henyard's alleged secret empire. Rumors are now emerging that the Henyard story is much deeper than anyone first thought. By day, she is the picture of charm, cutting ribbons and smiling as she greets constituents. But at night, the street's rumors indicating some really questionable activities are circulating, claiming that her ties go all the way to cartels. If these rumors are accurate, her nighttime activities could be even more scandalous than anyone could have imagined. Henyard, the town's so-called super mayor, won an impressive 82% of the vote and was elected with promises of job creation and infrastructure improvements. But behind her glittering exterior, there may be a secret so explosive that it could upend the entire town. In addition, $667,000 was spent on luxury hotel stays and travel in just 5 months, which could have resulted in a far higher true cost of her leadership than anyone had anticipated. There's a problem with this. We're talking about taxpayer-funded gourmet eating in opulent hotel rooms, and here's the worst part. The team from Henyard spend over $9,300 on a single trip to Atlanta, which is more than many people make in a month. But as Henyard enjoys 5-star accommodations, one person maintains they know exactly where those government monies went. Henyard appears to be swimming in cash, reportedly earning over $200,000 annually from her dual roles as mayor and township supervisor for a small town official. That's a hefty sum, and one might wonder why she feels the need to charge those extravagant dinners to the town's expenses. Dalton is buried under a mountain of debt, $7 million to be exact, and it's not just the empty coffers that are causing problems. Vendors are suing repeatedly over unpaid bills. When Henyard was questioned about her spending patterns at a recent board meeting, she allegedly became defensive and showed no apologies or explanations, just a visible attitude. Now that the FBI is looking into her money, their investigation has broadened. They are looking into whether she is squandering public funds for personal benefit in addition to her travel expenses, which puts a lot of pressure on a mayor who previously promised to put her town first. But here's the actual twist. All of this extravagant spending and questionable as the FBI digs deeper into Henyard's financial dealings, the town is buzzing about $1 million mystery. Consider Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, Illinois, who is currently embroiled in a scandal that is upending local politics. She has $7 million in debt and spent $67,000 on travel in just 5 months, all while her town is in financial turmoil. What if I told you that a seemingly modest town mayor was actually the mastermind behind a billion-dollar global empire? These numbers are more than just statistics. They are the trail that leads us into the incredible world of Tiffany Henyard's alleged secret empire. Rumors are now emerging that the Henyard story is much deeper than anyone first thought. By day, she is the picture of charm, cutting ribbons and smiling as she greets constituents. But at night, the street's rumors indicating some really questionable activities are circulating, claiming that her ties go all the way to cartels. If these rumors are accurate, her nighttime activities could be even more scandalous than anyone could have imagined. Henyard, the town's so-called super mayor, won an impressive 82% of the vote and was elected with promises of job creation and infrastructure improvements. But behind her glittering exterior, there may be a secret so explosive that it could upend the entire town. In addition, $667,000 was spent on luxury hotel stays and travel in just 5 months, which could have resulted in a far higher true cost of her leadership than anyone had anticipated. There's a problem with this. We're talking about taxpayer-funded gourmet eating in opulent hotel rooms, and here's the worst part. The team from Henyard spend over $9,300 on a single trip to Atlanta, which is more than many people make in a month. But as Henyard enjoys 5-star accommodations, one person maintains they know exactly where those government monies went. Henyard appears to be swimming in cash, reportedly earning over $200,000 annually from her dual roles as mayor and township supervisor for a small town official. That's a hefty sum, and one might wonder why she feels the need to charge those extravagant dinners to the town's expenses. Dalton is buried under a mountain of debt, $7 million to be exact, and it's not just the empty coffers that are causing problems. Vendors are suing repeatedly over unpaid bills. When Henyard was questioned about her spending patterns at a recent board meeting, she allegedly became defensive and showed no apologies or explanations, just a visible attitude. Now that the FBI is looking into her money, their investigation has broadened. They are looking into whether she is squandering public funds for personal benefit in addition to her travel expenses, which puts a lot of pressure on a mayor who previously promised to put her town first. But here's the actual twist. All of this extravagant spending and questionable as the FBI digs deeper into Henyard's financial dealings, the town is buzzing about $1 million mystery. That's all from today's video. Stay tuned and we'll see you in the next one. Behavior could be just the surface of a much larger issue. We're talking about a potential billion-dollar empire where the opulent vacations and fine dining may only be a fraction of what's really happening behind closed doors.